Welcome to the Rogue Recap. Hot takes, cold facts, and zero respect for the official narrative. Sit back, roll your eyes, and let's recap. Rogue style.
What's up, and welcome to the Rogue Recap, episode 3 of SoundBytes, here with Eric Eggers. He's excited, very excited. This is his excited face. It's not weird. This is it. All right, so this is him.
Well, after the plastic surgery, this is as much facial expression as I can generate. I hope it's sufficient.
The only person who can't move their face right now is Nancy Pelosi. The one thing that does move for her, unfortunately, are her dentures. And I think she spends a good part of her day searching for those bad boys.
And her portfolio. Come on, put some respect on that account.
Ain't nobody searching for that. We got the Nancy Pelosi stock tracker. I am on that X account daily. I'm like, oh, wow, where is she putting her money today? You know, Peanut Paul's in the background, just yucking it up, excited about life. Anyways.
Yeah, like Ilhan Omar's like, we get it, Nancy. You're successful. I'm going the other way. Yeah.
Should we lead with Ilhan Omar since she
might as well? You started it, you know. So I think at this point we're talking about congressional portfolios. There is Nancy Pelosi and everyone else is playing for second place, but Ilhan Omar apparently is pretending to be in last.
You know what's funny about Ilhan Omar is she is so. I have to start out and tell you that I hate her. Okay, so don't think this is covered with complete bias. So somebody's like, you can't talk about this. You're biased, bitch. I know. I just told you. I know I'm biased. Moving on. So. This person is so infuriating, right? Because she's such a gaslighter. She just walks around with that kerosene tank. She's just pouring it on. And she's finally getting like caught a little bit, just a little bit, right? So which one should I play first? The girl that goes to the restaurant or her yelling at the elevator?
No, her being asked about her portfolio and her changing
let's
her
do
work.
that
Yeah.
first. So this is funny. This is a reporter asking her, obviously had asked her a question about a week ago. She called the reporter stupid for asking her a question. So this is part 2 of this exchange.
Congresswoman Omar, the last time I spoke to you, you said that I was stupid for asking you about your financial disclosure, but there's some discrepancies on there. Would you like to explain that? How did you make such a big mistake on it?
Absolutely, you're stupid for asking me anything.
I am?
Yes.
Well, what about the American people who are wondering how you made such a big
I have
mistake?
explained to the American people.
What's the explanation?
I have given them the explanation.
Do you want to tell our viewers? Because they're
I don't want to tell you jack shit.
Oh.
How about that?
Okay.
Okay. Have a good day.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
So this, to me, like if I was that reporter, I'd be like, yes, because that's what you want. You want to get them on the record, freaking out that you just got them on the record. And if the explanation was so easy, just to say it again, what's the problem?
I'm surprised that this is, I'm surprised, but also like really glad this is legal and that you can just go up to these people and kind of film them. And it's like the best because it's like, unfortunately, it's kind of what passes for real journalism these days. In fact, most of the clips that we're going to have are either people sitting in committees, right? Or people being approached by citizens, which is why, you know, the Stop Nick Shirley Act in California is so insidious. But I think Ilhan Omar and other members of Congress should just recognize the larger point. 7 out of 10 of the wealthiest counties in this country are around Washington, D.C. It's like where all the money comes from, but they don't generate a product. So when you see wild fluctuations in reported income or reported net worth, as Ilhan Omar's does, you know, we know a lot of it has to do with her husband and the winery that's not really a winery. I mean, there's so many questions. I don't know why they can't just like be honest and transparent and explain it. But then again, she acts like she doesn't really represent America. She represents Somalis, as she said before.
Yes. My first love is Somalia. I'm like, fantastic. I have a plane ticket with your name on it. Which name would you like to use? Your brother's, your first husband, your third husband? I'm good. You tell me, I will get you on that plane. It is not a problem at all.
No. All of it's shady. And so actually the next clip that you have about this restaurant is interesting because she's been connected to fraudulent restaurants before.
Yes.
When the Somali fraud was like in the news early this summer, and all the people that had been busted for the Feeding America scandal, like they had 125 million fake meals. One of the people who was charged with that actually had a restaurant. And he, one of the people who ran the restaurant that was pretending to serve meals featured Ilhan Omar like in a commercial, or his restaurant was in one of her commercials.
Yes.
So this next restaurant that we're going to see, which apparently she's also tried to get some money for, is a restaurant and not an aid center. So Ilhan
Yeah.
Omar just continues to be connected to like scandalous money stories.
And the point of this restaurant is as we set this up, supposedly she's like a part owner of this location. So what's interesting is the gentleman you're about to hear is like a cousin or something. He's definitely being like removed from the family today, but he's answering honestly, which is such a new concept in America. And he really does give the reporter quite the earful about how this has never been what Ilhan says it is.
None of the owners are here.
Tomorrow you will find.
Tomorrow? Ooh. You've only worked here for a couple of days?
Just restaurant, yes.
Oh, you just got the job?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Helper. Check with this.
Ah.
Help.
Come back. Can I ask you just one question real quick though? Because has there ever been a substance abuse clinic that operates out of here?
Clinic?
Yeah, like
Oh, no.
no clinic.
No.
Oh.
This place?
Yeah.
Ever.
Never.
No.
Because have you ever heard of Ilhan Omar?
Ilan, she's our senator. How we don't know.
Yeah, of course. So she was trying to. Yeah.
So anyways, as you can see, he starts to get wise to her game there a little bit. And he's like, oh, stop filming. Uh-oh, I may have said something wrong. First of all, she got a promotion in that clip. She's a senator now. So that's awesome, right? Super excited. Maybe we should talk to Klobuchar. I don't know. Just, thinking outside the box.
Well, he's not wrong that it's probably not a substance abuse clinic, but if it's a restaurant, I'm willing to bet that there's some substance abuse that happens there. I mean, that's just the way.
So sketchy.
That's just the way restaurant kitchens are. I do think we can maybe, I think it's like kind of in a legal term, it's asked and answered, Lynda. Like, hey, how come Ilhan Omar's net worth dropped precipitously? Oh, by the way, this clinic that she's connected to has stopped receiving all the money that was going to get for being. So maybe we sort of have figured out the answer of why Ilhan Omar's net worth has dropped so significantly.
And as we've been talking about, you guys know Eric has an amazing show with Peter Schweitzer called The Drill Down, and they covered a great topic on Nick Shirley yesterday in the Stop Nick Shirley Act, which it's kind of crazy that that's a thing, like that, elected representatives have gone out and made a bill naming one person as a citizen journalist that represents all citizen journalists to say no more citizen journalists. Like, what are you afraid of? What is happening?
And to connect it to the clips we just played, to be very clear, I think what's funny about the Assembly Bill 2624 in California is that it doesn't just say, hey, citizen journalists, you can't just show up and do anything. It says you can't shame, harass, or bully or document like people in the name of migrant services. And to me, that's like really the key that not too many people are talking about. In Minnesota, the fraud was allowed to exist because it benefited a key political constituency, the Somalis. And in California, it's the migrants, right? So, I mean, that's, if white people are committing fraud, you can expose them all damn day. But when our black and brown brothers get in the business, then we start being a little bit more concerned about it.
And I think that's the problem. I'm going to play a clip. I'm going to surprise you. This is something I featured on my show yesterday. And the name of my show yesterday was There's No Hospice in That Burrito Stand. Did you hear about this? So this woman gave testimony yesterday about the fraud in California. And the clip that I'm about to play you, I had to watch it a few times, and I decided to name my show that yesterday because I was like, okay, welcome to 2026, where these are real conversations and millions upon millions of taxpayer dollars all across the country are being funneled to the most absurd, ridiculous things. It's just ridiculous, right? So I'm gonna play this clip. It speaks for itself. It's so good.
You'd be amazed at how many hospices the door you can walk up to in California, and there is nobody there. There is 5 months worth of mail that you can see stacked up from CMS, and nobody's there. And that passed a survey. How did that happen? How do you put a hospice in a burrito stand in California? How do you put a hospice in a tire store in California? That all had to be vetted through licensure and through certification and accreditation.
I was speechless. I was like, I love her. I don't know who she is, but I love her. And she's so matter of fact. She's like, no, but actually, like, why? How?
Well, it's like the old Arrested Development clip. There's always money in the banana stand. There's always a hospice in the burrito stand. And the crazy part, Lynda, and you know this, like California is so insane. The fraud has been so rampant for so long, yet rather than be like, hey, maybe we have a problem, the lady who was the controller, aka the person who was in charge of making sure the money went to the right places, she's running for governor.
Yes.
So it's like, they're not like, maybe we should take a look at ourselves. Like, no, we're doubling down. California, the gift that keeps on giving to every show across this great land.
It's so true. And I think the scary part, and this is something that I mean, if you guys don't know this, Eric Eggers, he is the guy when it comes to election fraud. He knows so much about it. And what we saw yesterday with the Virginia redistricting vote, and we'll just start with the simple fact that you had to vote yes, right? To vote no. And you had to vote no to vote yes. And all these like little confusing, nuanced ways so that the voter who's trying to get to a poll, maybe before they get their kids, after they get their kids to school, before they go to work, after work, before the polls close, who knows what your schedule is, right? We're all running around. But it was so confusing. And when they weren't sure if they were going to make it or not, because around 7 o'clock, it was 52% to 48% in our favor in Republicans to keep that representation. Suddenly, miraculously, the mail-in ballots, baby, coming in for the home stretch.
Well, and the worst part, this is legalized election fraud, basically, because and the same thing that happened in California, but this is it passed basically like with 51%. And so now with 51% of people basically voting in favor of this redistricting, Republican representation is going to drop by like 40%. So
without question,
it is, it is the kind of shunning and silencing of political voices that only groups like the Southern Poverty Law Center would be proud of these days. I mean, it's like
Hash Patel was at it today, boy. He was not having it. I was like, 8 a.m. Here we are. Yes. Ready for the day. I mean, just angry. And like, I loved, I'm not a big fan of Todd Blanche, but I did like when he said, somebody asked, well, this alleged fraud, but he goes, no. This is a federal indictment. It's not alleged. Did you want to continue with your fraudulently based question?
Yeah. If it's alleged, it's alleged by the grand jury who voted on it after reviewing the facts. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do have one positive note for our friends in Virginia, and I think it's a big one. There's an old expression, some of you may know it. It's called no taxation without representation. So I'm feeling like you just hold on to those dollars, ladies and gentlemen. You don't need to be paying that. You're not being represented. These are not your people. That's a good fight.
I mean, we sort of joke about the Southern Poverty Law Center because, what they've been doing as far as like paying Nazis so that they can then fight Nazis is insane. But literally, I mean, what California and now Virginia have done to disenfranchise the voices of people who happen to represent the Republican Party is like, if they were an ethnic group, then it would be illegal, right? Yes. I mean, this is literally why they have like the civil rights provisions, and Eric Holder did all these things to try to keep this from happening to certain groups. But now they're bragging and aggressively doing it to protect Democrats at the expense of Republicans. It's insane, but it just speaks to the hypocrisy that some people are clearly quite comfortable with.
Yeah, and I think I would say to one final point to that is they're not even protecting Democrats. They're furthering Democrats. They're pushing a narrative. They're not protecting anybody. Republicans could give a shit less about them because we know if elections were fair, they would lose. And that's what's going on in California. That's why we have hospices and burrito stands.
Well, and to be honest, that's why we need the Save America Act, right?
Thank you.
So maybe we get to that clip now because you've got Mike Lee talking about the importance of that. And I know he's a friend of yours. And you said he was told, Lynda, that the effort to pass the Save America Act is a charade. Is that right?
That's right. So we'll just start out. We've got John Thune, and I use the word leader very loosely around him because he is the biggest rhino piece of shit. And unfortunately, he's our leader, right? He's in McConnell's back pocket. He's been there a long time. It's getting smelly and cold back there. And so he's angry, right? He wants to get out. He wants to be his own man. So he's going to take a stand against the American people, which is never a good idea. Mike Lee, on the other hand, is literally like the Lone Ranger every day on the Senate floor. Like 84% of Americans, Democrats, Republicans, independents want this passed. Let's do it. So somebody decided to talk trash about Mike Lee and say that the only reason that he's doing this is performance. It's all a charade. This is just for me to get clicks. And I'm like, you're joking, right? This guy literally through the Easter holiday stayed in DC. He wasn't in Walt Disney World like Lindsey Graham. He wasn't at a resort with, the likes of the late night television hosts. No, he was on the Senate floor defending you. So this next clip is Mike Lee pissed off. I just want to let you know this is him very angry, and he's rightfully angry, but he's still the most polite person on the planet.
I'm sorry. I'm not smiling.
Go ahead.
I'm not smiling because of Mike Lee being pissed off. I'm just smiling at the idea of Lindsey Graham being at Disney World. And I can't help it.
Oh my God, walking around with the bubble wand. I'm like, bro.
Keep going. All right, here's Mike Lee.
Please stop.
Supposedly, one of my colleagues called the effort to pass the Save America Act in the Senate a charade. Well, my guess is that whoever said that but didn't have the guts to put their name to it is somebody who's a co-sponsor of the Save America Act, who openly, actively tells his constituents that he's a co-sponsor of the Save America Act, and maybe even tells donors that in order to raise funds. Regardless, this isn't going away. I'm not going away. This thing's not a charade. And I'm doubling down on this. I'm going to work twice as hard just because you said that, whoever you are.
By the way, when you go to Disney World, you know what you have to do? Show a dang ID. And they like capture your eyes, like do all kinds of stuff. So it's literally the idea that we wouldn't have to show ID. This is a big deal in California also, right? This is one thing that people are kind of clinging to no matter who wins the gubernatorial primary. So states are taking matters into their own hands because the Senate, as you noted, is just so bankrupt and broken. But I do think, like on its merits, the idea of having to show ID is something that, as the polling shows, people are in favor of. And I think if you could just require ID, require proof of citizenship, and have regular maintenance of the voter rolls, it would do so much for this country's elections. And yet no one seems to want to do it. It's I don't understand.
Right. So what does that tell you? I was just talking about this the other day. What does it tell you when we have a Republican-led House, Senate, executive branch, and we can't get the president's agenda passed? When they do pro forma voting to stop the acceleration of his candidates, what's happening? What don't they want to happen? I have my suspicions. I'll let you go first.
Well, no, I literally, look, I'm not smart enough to know this. Like, I seriously don't understand it. You please use small, kind of comprehensible words to explain it to me, because me no get it.
My feeling is that the rhinos inside of our Senate and inside of the House, all those assholes who voted to keep the Haitians here, people like Lawler, people like Fitzpatrick, in the House, Maria Salazar, these are terrible human beings. They ran on Republican principles, and now they live in the basking glow of their Democrat friends. Yes, we want the Haitians. Yes, we love amnesty. Yes, more special interest. And why? Because some lobbyist asshole is in the hallway with their paycheck. And the same thing goes for the Senate. You see, they've been there too long. They have too many friends, whether it's Murkowski, Collins, Thune, Tillis, McConnell. They've been there too long. You go back and you look at footage of Susan Collins when she first ran for office. And don't get me wrong. I know she's up in Maine. Those people are nuts. I mean, these people are walking around blue hair, purple hair, Birkenstocks, moccasins, talking about trees. Okay, the rest of us have to work. Have a nice day.
Right.
But Susan Collins, when she ran, said, I'm only going to do this for 1 or 2 terms. Meanwhile, 30 years later, you've been there a minute. It's time to go, Susan.
Okay, so like I'm willing to concede and accept the idea that when you're there in Washington, D.C. for too long, as Peter Schweitzer likes to say, the cesspool becomes a hot tub and you become like way too comfortable. But so what's the lobbyist motivation for wanting to keep this from happening?
So what happens is the lobbyists go in and they say, hey, if you're willing to vote yes on the Dignidad Act, or if you're willing to hold the line and make sure that SAVE Act doesn't get passed, we've got a really nice cushy position on the XYZ committee where you'll be able to find out what's going to happen in the stock market, and you'll be able to buy XYZ stock, and you'll be able to go to XYZ party. Oh, by the way, we've got this beautiful jukebox, Lamborghini, house, rental property, Airbnb. I mean, it goes on and
you
on.
Just get like plugged into the matrix, basically.
It's disgusting. Yeah. And honestly, you and I both know people inside of Congress, good people, who go in and they're like, I'm going to change it. I'm going to be the one. I'm like, right on, brother. 6 months later, they're deep in the shit. Brandon Gill now out of Texas, God bless that kid. He's like 35 years old, young, 2 little babies, like doing his thing. And I mean, he is at it. He is not there. He is not for a popularity contest. I love that kid.
Dude, check it out. So a friend of mine is actually running for the seat of Congress in my area in North Florida.
Oh, nice.
And he's a Purple Heart veteran. He lost a leg in Iraq, and he gave me a stat the other day. His name's Luke Murphy. He's a really, really good dude. But he said that Congress used to be, and to the point, Congress used to be represented by 60% of people who'd been in active combat, right?
Oh,
so
wow.
like veterans of active combat, and now it's less than 16%. And the idea is that so people used to go like, look, we're going to fight for what's in the best interest of this country, right? We send the best of us to represent the rest of us, and we stopped doing that. And so now people aren't really about the one common goal. It's about their own personal interest. So that would kind of check out with what you're saying. But the whole Save America Act, the fact that we can't, it's just common sense. 80% of the people do it. It's insane, but there's clearly something else happening. And I think I'm going to keep looking into it.
Yeah, me too. I'm actually super frustrated with all of it. And then we have a couple clips today. We're going to show you two of our favorite idiots in the Senate. We've got Coons, Cuckoo Coons, and then we've got Pocahontas, who decided she was going to take a stab at Kevin Warsh yesterday, who we're hoping will be the next Fed chair. And full disclosure, I mean, I know him superficially, right? Like I know the headlines about him. I know a little bit about him because I happen to have worked on Wall Street for a number of years. But I know Jerome Powell, and I know that I've had enough of Jerome Powell. You know what I mean? Like I'm good. I had Greenspan. I had Bernanke. You suck. Next, please. And they were trying to drag. Did you see the testimony?
Yeah, it's crazy. Let's go.
God. So here's Warren and Warsh. Really funny stuff.
In our meeting, you said you would be independent because you're, quote, a tough guy. Those were your words, tough guy. And you will be able to stand up to President Trump. So let's try it again. Name one aspect of President Trump's economic agenda with which you disagree.
Well, Senator, the Federal Reserve in recent years has wandered outside of its remit, wandered into other areas.
I'm asking for something
That's
you
not something I'm
disagree with
prepared to
Donald
do.
Trump on.
If I'm
Just
confirmed,
one
the Federal Reserve should
economic
stay in its
issue.
lane.
Just one little place where you disagree with Donald
Well,
Trump.
I do have a disagreement, actually, Senator, with the president. I think even this morning, he said that he thought I was out of central casting. I think central casting, I'd look older, grayer, and maybe show up here with a cigar of sorts.
Quite adorable. But, we need...
We'll stop it there. I don't need to hear the rest of Warren. I really don't at any given time. But he's so funny, right? Like, and she gets so mad. When he says, actually, I do have a disagreement. You see her face. She's like, oh, shit.
Right.
I wasn't prepared for an answer.
You know what she reminded me of just watching that clip? Do you remember the old Married with Children episodes? And they would make fun of Marcy, the neighbor. She kind of looked like a chicken, like with a head bobbing. Like that's total Elizabeth Warren energy right there. Apologies for people who didn't see that show if they're younger. But no, I like it. I mean, the bottom line is, to Warsh's point, where's the line against lower interest rates? I mean,
why are you so mad?
Yeah, I think the other thing he could have been like, well, I've seen some of Donald Trump's plans for the renovation of the Federal Reserve building. I think his bathroom decor is a little gauche, actually. Can we?
I'm not a fan of gold.
It's too much. It's too much gold, right? We should be silver.
I love silver, like the gray in my hair. Moving on, but it's so silly, and I'm like, he's so calm, which I kind of love. And she's literally, he could have come back and said, "Well, Elizabeth, what do you disagree with the pharmaceutical companies? Name one thing that you don't like." Was it that they didn't give you enough for your new remodel? Was that what you're mad about? Yeah.
I will say this. I don't know him at all. You said you know him superficially, but everything I hear is that he is an operator. And and he will get it done. Yeah, he's on it. Yeah.
I have a friend who's an artificial intelligence PhD expert. And I always say to him, I always say I hate everybody equally. He actually does, because he's totally binary. It's just numbers. He's like, no, that doesn't make sense.
I think the term you're looking for, Lynda, is autistic, but we can keep it moving.
Okay, let's go to, this is another douchebag. All right, so Senator Coons, he decides to try to hold his feet to the fire today. This was Secretary Bessent this morning before the committee, and he put forth some DNC talking point, and Bessent wasn't having any peace. Did you see this?
Yeah, so good.
Priceless.
Any brief idea why it's a good idea to relieve sanctions on Iranian and Russian oil?
Good. With pleasure, Senator. The $14 billion is a myth, and unfortunately a DNC talking point that I've been subjected to many times. If anyone would like to show me where that $14 billion comes from.
I look forward to an exchange of details on that, Mr. Secretary.
We can exchange it in a very public forum.
I'm not the DNC. I'm the senator from Delaware.
Well, I on every talk show, and every senator seems to have.
Do you
that
disagree that Iran has received significant additional revenue from their sales of oil because of sanctions relief?
I couldn't disagree more.
Okay. Do you disagree that Russia has received significant additional revenue from the sanctions relief?
I couldn't disagree more.
Okay. Why did you relieve the sanctions against Russian and Iranian oil?
Think of it this way, sir. There's the Strait of Hormuz.
Familiar with it.
There is oil to the
left and to the right.
There is to the right. The Treasury was able to, just as you are concerned about gasoline prices for the American consumer and for our Asian allies, as are we, Treasury was able to create the more than 250 million barrels on the water. And the way to think about this is, as I came in today, the oil prices are at $100. If we had not done that sanctions relief, they might have been at 150.
So what's interesting is this same senator didn't have shit to say when Barack Obama was like, yes, more money to Palestine, more money to Hezbollah. Let's send some pallets over to Iran. We had no issues with that. But this guy lifts sanctions so that we can help our allies in the region, because if you understand geography, if you understand who is actually the recipient, the consumer of said oil, this would make sense to you, right?
The only quotable line from True Detective season 2 to me was when Colin Farrell is talking to his lawyers trying to pay her in cash, and she's like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "What do you like paying taxes?" So like to me, Scott Bessent's point is like, do you like paying $5.75 for diesel at the pump, bro? Also, Senator Coons, that exchange was so catty, and only one of you is gay. Like it's like Queer Eye for the oil guy over there. Come on, man.
Nicely done,
if you're gonna be, I'm the senator from Delaware. Number one, conduct yourself with the severity you're expecting to be addressed. Secondly, I think that's exactly what's wrong with Washington, D.C. Scott Bessent's like, no, let's have we're talking now. And he's like, no, we'll talk about it privately, because all he did have, ironically, was the talking point. He didn't have the details. He didn't have the specifics. Scott Bessent's like, so fun fact, that's something that came across my desk. We can talk about it in detail and length if you'd like to. Senator Coons, obviously not so interested in that exchange.
And you know what's funny? So Scott Bessent has an interesting, I would call it like an odd pentameter of talking, right? Him and RFK, despite the fact that RFK actually has an affliction, they have a weird measured way of speaking. So what irritates me is that if you are a sitting senator and you've been at the dais enough times and you've had these people in for testimony, you know that they're in the middle of a sentence. There's no reason for you to interrupt with your little tidbits like, I'm a senator. Yeah, on the left and the right. Just shut up for a minute. No one can hear you.
Well, here's the point, is he's not actually interested in having a discussion. And this is just hey, 2026, I hate it here. He's not trying to govern. He's just trying to get a clip for his social media feed. And you know that. And that's what these committee hearings are all about. And that's why they're trying to elevate these people. That's why they like AOC. And this is it's not a secret. They're like, no, we need someone who can go back and forth to get a clip to go viral, just to kind of keep the energy in the attention economy that we all sort of live in. But he wasn't actually interested in answering and finding out why sanctions relief occurred and even providing accurate information about it. He's just trying to get a clip, which obviously hooked Lynda McLaughlin.
It worked. I'm like, damn it, Coons, you son of a bitch. But honestly, I look at Bessent and he's like, well, so yeah, you know how it's $100 right now? Like, it wouldn't be. So you're welcome. You can say thank you now. Like that to me is like his shining moment. And he is as well very calm. He's like, I could not disagree more. You literally are so wrong. Yes, this makes sense. And here's why it makes sense. And the issue, and this is what troubles me, and then we'll move on, is this is the continuing idea that when it is a Democrat president, then we're fine. If you go back and you play all these assholes during Biden, during Obama, during Clinton, which is another problem because they've been there for everybody, right? These career senators, they've been there through all of them. They don't want the guard to change. And now we have Trump in there who's just like, shut up, you're a moron. Like people hate that he's crass. I love it. I love that you just say it out loud. Just say it out loud. The only time I wish he wouldn't was right now about Iran.
1,000%. But I would just say this, the one thing about Donald Trump is whether it's Bessent, whether it's Warsh, I think he does put legit people on the thing. It's not like we got to listen to, it's not like John Kerry talking to us about climate change or something, right? I'm saying,
oh my God,
he's a real guy.
And to that point, This is a guy who's run so many businesses. When they came out at him in his first term and they were like, oh, you had bankruptcies. Well, I hope he had bankruptcies. He ran hundreds of businesses. He had hotels. He had casinos. Things happen. If you haven't experienced loss, then you haven't learned anything, which means you can't run your next business. Part of running a business and being an operator, an entrepreneur, is screwing up and then going, oh, shit. Yeah, okay, I won't do that again. And then you learn from it. These assholes haven't done shit. If you ask any of them what they have done, they're not passing legislation.
No,
they're not working with it. They're not home in the community parks planting trees. Give me a break.
So speaking of that, how about for our next clip, we listen to someone who has done things and has like real world business experience, but yet somehow has translated that business experience into then being an expert on things other than like computers and chips. He's now talking to us about farmland and biometrics and all kinds of things. Let me tell you what I don't trust is Bill Gates to do anything. Yet here he is trying to tell us about like the necessity of compressing and bringing all of our data into one single place, which presumably he'll have access to.
Yes, indeed. Here he is.
Another place that India leads, but there's a lot more that all of you can be involved in driving forward, is this digital public infrastructure. You know, no country is more able to take government benefits and get them out efficiently and effectively to their citizens than India. You know, you would have expected rich countries or others to do that, but in fact, they did not. And so that basic structure that starts with identity and bank accounts and payments is just foundational. And as part of this visit, I'm now seeing how that foundation is being built out in agriculture with profiles of farmers to understand what they need and give them advice. Built out with health records so that we can help people not only with infectious diseases, but the challenge that's coming in the future with the growth of the non-communicable diseases being a huge thing. And that digital public infrastructure will help us with these climate problems. I was in Odisha yesterday, and what they showed is that they've registered the farmers and registered what type of crops they grow and what land they own. They literally have a control center. You know, when you walk in, you think, wow, this is agriculture, but you know, you've got a command center and maps and people doing queries and sending out messages. And so that all starts, you know, with an Aadhaar identity, listing those farmers, getting the information, making sure it's up to date.
Yeah. Okay, Voldemort.
It sounds like centralized planning. Are we sure he was in India or maybe China, right? I mean, and the reality is when you know he has the agenda where he wants the kind of farm-grown meat, have people eat bugs, try to like steer everyone towards a certain type of way of living. You know, my colleague Seamus Bruner wrote a great book called Control Oligarchs. He gets into Bill Gates and his incredibly creepy vision for what the future should look like and how we should all just opt in. It's anytime I start hearing Bill Gates, talk about things like that, I get incredibly worried. I will say I'm a little bit of a hypocrite on this though. Like I don't like any of it, but if it will let me skip a line at an airport or Disney World, you can totally have my biometrics. Like have it, dude. Like.
So in fairness, I am also a Clear member. And I will let them scan my eyeballs.
I know. It's so bad.
I'm like, all right, yeah, light it up. Yeah, let's do this.
But it's worth it because those same eyes that you just steered into my soul, I can then look at other people like I'm so much better than you when I walk past you in the line.
I'm gonna skip that line.
Yeah.
See you over there. But I mean, for what, right? It's so stupid. Like I honestly, Bill Gates to me is one of the worst people that has ever lived. And in my show yesterday, and this is very extreme, so please know I speak for myself and not Eric Eggers. I mean, I really do think like he is a disciple of Satan. This guy is evil to the core. He will vaccinate on the human person, even just to test it. We look at what he did in India before, and all these people died from these trial vaccines, and him and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation before he left her, because all that shit came out in the Epstein files. And it's like, guys, Bill Gates is not somebody we can trust. You want to put a barcode in my arm so you can scan it? No, thank you.
No, how about he's like, yeah, I'm surprised the rich countries haven't done this. Yeah, I wonder why, Bill. Because the poor ones are the only ones that'll let you do it.
That is so well said. The idea, it's kind of like that Joe Biden statement where he says like, these poor kids are just as good as the white kids. What? You're so racist. You are the problem. And Bill Gates is the same way. He's like, I can't believe other countries haven't done this. I'm like, yeah, because we're smart. And we know that whatever amount of money you've just given to the Indian government to allow you in there and do this with them, we're going to help out the farmers. What do you know about farming, Bill? Why don't you get out of your loafers for a minute and show me what you can plant? Give me a freaking break.
He wants people to eat bugs. That's all you need.
Oh, God. Yeah, you know what? Bad. Go into pesticides, you asshole. All right. Here's my update of the week. It's our alien update. So obviously now the FBI is involved. James Comer is involved. We've got FBI investigations. We've got House Oversight Committee investigations. Every single show is talking about it everywhere. Fun fact, we've been talking about it before it was cool, so I feel kind of happy about that. Little snooty, not sad to say it, just saying out loud. But there's this one girl who died in 2022, Amy Eskridge. And so now we're getting all this video that I have never seen before. I don't know if you have.
No, I haven't. But it's very much like if you know you're looking for, and it's a weird thing to say, but if you think you've identified a pattern of a serial killer and then you start finding other bodies, seriously, that like, no, this fits the pattern. And you kind of look back and like, well, here's more people who have been affiliated with this genre of study who also died under mysterious circumstances. It's incredibly troubling.
So this is Amy Eskridge. We've got 2 clips of her. I just want to preface a little bit of a disclaimer. If you are listening in your car, you know, we're allowed to have a little potty mouth on this show, but she goes full F-bomb in this. So just want to preview this for everybody. But this is her talking about 2 things. One is the fact that she is not suicidal and she's afraid for her life. And then the other one is what she's discovered and why she thinks that's why they're going to try and hurt her. So here's cut 1.
It's been independently discovered 4 other times. He said it has been suppressed every single fucking time. And he said, I don't think they're going to suppress it this time. He said, I think you're in the clear. He said, they obviously know about you because I've had multiple, both protective and threatening interactions with various agency affiliations, whatever. He was like, if you haven't had a U.S. government agent come to you and say, stop, shut the fuck up. Stop, shut the fuck up. If that hasn't happened, they're going to let you do it. They're waiting. There are SSP motherfuckers that are fucking twiddling their thumbs. Like, is Amy not going to publish soon? Gah, we've been influencing this bitch forever. Doesn't she know we want her to publish? Jesus. Like, there's multiple people doing that right now. And on the other side of the fence, there's multiple parties looking at each other like, didn't we tell this bitch 3 years ago that we kill people for this? Is she not listening? What is she doing? She's still doing it? What? We told her we were going to kill her 3 years ago. So I have these two different scenarios floating constantly in my life where I have people being like, do it, do it, do it. You're the one, do it. And then I have multiple people being like, they're going to kill you. Don't do it. They're going to kill you.
It's so sad.
It's sad. You know, I don't know. I still don't know what to make of this story. It's so bizarre. But I do think that, and I know, you and I were texting this week, the fact that the House Oversight Committee is looking into it is, I think, a very positive thing. But I'll ask you, I think you're probably, you're definitely more well-informed than I am. I think you're also probably more cynical than I am. You heard Mike Lee, kind of push back on the idea that the attempted pass the Save America Act is a charade. Do you think these investigations are legitimate, or do you think that these are also just kind of for show, taking advantage of this wellspring of public interest online?
So I think it is 100% for show. I think it's all bullshit. It's like what I always say, nobody ever goes to jail. So stop wasting my taxpayer dollars.
Right.
Stop having committee hearings. Stop doing investigations until like Bill Clinton is walking around. Hillary Clinton is walking around. I'm good. I'm done. It's enough. We can't get people out of our country that say they want to kill people and they're sending illegal, ballistic missile components from California as of yesterday. They're like, yeah, we have to look at her green card. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Get her, take her, and let her go back to wherever. Anyways, I digress. But the whole concept here is that our government is never able to wrap their head around. We just need to get to the bottom, and then we need to have an action item. There's no action item. It's all talking. This second clip of Amy Eskridge is really wild. I just want to preface this. I have never heard this in my life. I heard it for the first time today, prepping to do this segment. I don't know if you've heard it yet. But
I have. It's something I was unprepared for. I'll say that.
Totally unprepared for. So if you haven't heard this yet, buckle up.
Well, so the ultra terrestrials, I'll just tell you, the ultra terrestrials, I think, have you heard of the P-52s and the P-47s? Do you know what that is? They're us from the future. They're from here. They are you. They are me. They're from here, from the future. P-47 is present plus 47,000 years. P-52 is present plus 52,000 years. And basically there's a calamity, right? So there's like a apocalypse scenario in the near future. It wipes out most of like everything, man. And there's the ones that go underground and survive, right? And then there's the ones that somehow stay on the surface and miraculously don't die.
I got nothing. I'm like,
so let me I think this might be our last clip for the day. So let me end on a positive note. I'm going to be optimistic about this. And here's what I'm saying. Dude, if the P-45s are us plus 45,000 years, guys, we made it. All right? We're good. Like, society is still around 45,000 years from now. We are all right. And whatever happens, you know, so the good news is, let's assume she's telling the truth, although she does seem a little casual with her fork.
It's so
like
odd.
she's eating dinner while she's describing like the next 45,000 years of humanity. But I think, you know, now is a good time to start applying the filter. Like COVID kind of snuck up on us. And then you had to kind of quickly in real time be like, okay, who do I want to have in my so-called bubble, right? And it was easy. Like if you're someone that drives in their car by themselves with a mask on, like you don't qualify. But now we can be like, okay, if we have 4 years to start figuring out when this calamity occurs, who do we want to be underground with? And that's, you know, we can make informed decisions and not kind of have the fever dream craziness that happened to us in 2020.
Yeah. So for those of you who are listening, she shows a chart there and she's talking about the global event that happens in 2030, which if you're somebody who follows the WEF or the 2030 Global Allegiance Party, these are all people that are saying that we need population control and they subscribe to like the Soroses and the Bill Gateses of the world. But she literally is sitting in like a tank top on some kind of Zoom call, having this sort of very strange conversation to, you know, us regular folks. And she got a fork in her hand, like she's like, munch, munch, 40,000 years in the future, munch, munch. Yeah, bitch. I'm like,
so when the global calamity occurs, hang on, this needs a little bit of salt. But when this happens, then
like,
you know, we're
going today. What did they do different? It's like, what is happening? But I have to say, that level of calmness, the fact that she was just this scientist in Huntsville, Alabama, running a small shop with her dad. And they've since gotten comment from her dad as they're investigating this, who's like, you know, some people just die, just leave it. And I'm like, I don't know if I'd be like that if that was my kid. I don't know. But, you know, her father is also in this world, right? Like this is his space. This is where he lives. This is his business. So I don't know what that guy knows and doesn't know, but
yeah, I don't know why you so devalue my family and my role as a father that you continue to make me comment publicly on this story, Lynda. But I do want to say that in April of 2026, both Lynda and I are of sound mind and body and choose to live.
Yes, we are alive. We'd like to stay alive, and we are not suicidal in any way, shape, or form. And we are covering this because it's weird as shit, and we think you would be interested in it. So I want to thank you for listening today. This is SoundBytes episode 3. We're having a lot of fun. He is Eric Eggers. I am Lynda McLaughlin. RogueRecap.com, at Rogue Recap, at Lynda Mick, and at Eric_Eggers. Am I right?
You got it. What a pro.
We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for joining.
We hope.